I would like to welcome you to the Business Startup Bootcamp presented by the Mastercraft Law Firm. In a few short minutes, I will present the 3 key issues you need to thoroughly understand from a legal standpoint to achieve success and avoid potential catastrophic failure of your venture. My name is Charles Moster, and I'm the founder of the Mastercraft Law Firm, which has 8 offices throughout the state of Texas. By way of background, so you could put some of my comments in context, I've been a business lawyer and a litigator for over 36 years and have represented clients and companies, large and small, in almost all sector areas, including construction, restaurants, service industries, retail, hospitality, high-tech companies, web-based companies, you name it. During this period, I've witnessed businesses succeed and fail and have seen great triumphs and, unfortunately, tremendous and heartbreaking defeats. Regardless of the experience of the owners, the assets, or even the size of the startups I've represented, 3 critical issues stand out and determine whether the venture is likely to be successful or not. The best way is to visualize a simple triangle with 3 points, which will be the guidepost for startup success or failure in this discussion. The apex of the triangle is what I call entity selection, which is subject to all kinds of misinformation out there on the web, and even some corporate attorneys. It's really simple, so I really don't get it. Business startups, number 1, should never, and I repeat that, never be a sole proprietorship, as that results in personal liability. If you get sued personally, it's an awful experience which you could remember your entire life. It can be frightening as your personal assets may be at risk. It is an experience that is expensive, and you'll have to defend yourself in a lawsuit, and that will be particularly nauseating, unfortunately. The choice of entity selection for us at the Mastercraft Law Firm 99% of the time is ding, 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 a limited liability company or an LLC. Repeat, 99% of the time we recommend a simple LLC. It's very straightforward and not very expensive. It is the easiest form, and there's virtually nothing to do after it's created. Just like a corporation, it'll protect and shield the owners or members from liability. One person can serve in all LLC roles and own all of its membership certificates, which is the equivalent of stock. Please, and I repeat, please do not go to those online services which produce generic documents which are often not tailored for state law specifics, particularly Texas law. Find an experienced law firm, which could be us or another excellent law firm. There are other great firms out there which could put together the critical documents to establish your LLC, which can be extensive, but they're certainly not voluminous. The point is, do not cut corners, as these documents need to be perfect. If there is a mistake in the documents, if you decide to do them yourselves or go to one of these online services, the business entity could fail and you would be subject to personal liability. We call that a business failure or piercing the corporate veil situation. Finally, avoid being an S corporation, as it just creates unnecessary complexity and expense. Never be a C corp without legal advice, as you're subject to double taxation. The second point on our startup triangle is the agreement with your partner. And that's important. In a lot of situations that I'm discussing, you'll be the sole partner, or you may have your wife as a co-partner with you. But in many instances, you'll have either a stranger or a friend or an acquaintance serve as a co-owner of your company or a co-member of your limited liability company. Most of the failures of startups stem from an improper agreement with a partner from inception, which leads to disagreements, strife, litigation, and failure. It can be heartbreaking. Of course, everything is usually congenial when the business starts up, but can dramatically change if the venture becomes successful or experiences financial problems. Partners can typically be greedy or abusive. It happens all the time. We have several of these cases in our office every month. Typically, there's either no partnership agreement or a poorly drafted generic agreement, which just makes things worse. I always recommend that the partnership agreement grant one-party majority control that's over 51%, so there can never be a deadlock, which can be fatal to your business. Critically, there needs to be special provisions in the partnership agreement which grant the majority owner total power in all matters. This is not always the case and needs to be in your document, among other key provisions. Typically, and this is important, at the early stage of a business, the partners will have no problem agreeing to these provisions, which will prevent a potential leadership meltdown later on. So get these provisions in your partnership agreement from the get-go. At least be a 51% owner, which will give you majority majority control. The third and final point in our startup triangle is intellectual property or IP. Many clients, particularly small businesses, have no clue what this is about or think it's unimportant. Not so, as the failure to understand this critical point can lead to business failure. And we typically have a couple of these cases in our office every month as well, which is unfortunate because it should never have happened in the beginning. So listen carefully. The key point to understand, and I want to emphasize this, is that you should never choose a company name without getting a federal trademark registered. Let me repeat. Don't choose your company name without getting a federal trademark registered. This is not a way for law firms to make money. It is a way for y'all to protect yourselves so you don't end up with expensive and costly litigation, which could be in the tens of thousands of dollars, which would otherwise be a very simple and inexpensive service for most law firms such as ours. And that is important to understand. The key point to understand here, and that's very, very important, is that the registration of your company name with the Texas Secretary of State does not constitute a trademark. It just allows you to use your LLC. It's just an LLC repository. The problem is that if the name of your business, even if it's registered in Texas, has been registered to another company through a registered trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, they can seek to stop you and terminate you from using your own name, which is catastrophic to your business. The effect can be absolutely devastating, and most clients can't afford the litigation services to defend in these types of cases. And again, I have several of these cases in my office right now where we have out-of-state restaurants with a trademark going after our small restaurant clients in a different state, claiming that the name they utilize is violating their registered trademark. That's absolutely ridiculous, but it is an excellent argument for these large companies to make since they have the registered trademark under the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And it could have been avoided if someone had listened to this startup module that I put together, or has simply gone to a competent attorney to try to get this thing taken care of. And that's very, very important. The simple solution, again, is to ask your lawyer to do a quick trademark search to see if your proposed name has already been taken. If that's the case, choose another name. If not, snatch it up. And so the fate of your startup business, success or failure, can be reduced down to a simple triangle with 3 points: entity selection, partnership agreements, and trademarks. If you follow this simple advice and find experienced counsel, your chances of business success will increase demonstrably. And I want you to succeed. Thanks for your time, and feel free to contact us at the Monstercraft Law Firm for more information. The initial consultation with us is always free, and we have 8 offices throughout Texas to serve you. Wishing you prosperity in all of your ventures. This is Charles Monster. And again, thanks for listening to us.